I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars.
What's good? We're going to get into AEW Dynamite Beach Break from July the 8th, 2026. This was an okay show, for the most part. We got 3 okay matches. We're going to talk about the main event first, because that's the most important. So we're going to start the review off with that. So, Kenny Omega defeats MJF to become the new AEW World Champion. Now, this was obviously done because of the fact of the matter is, we all knew that at Wembley, it was going to be Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega. That's the story they have been teasing and telling for months now, right? They've been doing a lot of interesting segments involving those two, and so we kind of knew that it was going to be Ospreay and Omega at Wembley. So there's that. The match itself was hard-hitting. It was fine. So MJF ended up hitting a heat seeker. Kenny Omega kicked out. The match continued on. Kenny Omega ended up jumping off of the safeguard high chair, doing that beautiful moonsault, taking out MJF on the outside. They brawled on the outside for a little bit too. The match continued on. MJF tried to cheat. He ended up doing a low blow, and Kenny Omega kicked out at 1, which was interesting. Then he went for the Dynamite Diamond ring. Will Ospreay came out. He took the ring away from MJF. The match continued on. There was also a gnarly table spot where Kenny ended up doing a V-trigger through a table, and the announce table exploded into a million pieces, which was cool. The match continued on some more, and MJF ended up doing a beautiful Poison Rana, which was insane. That thing was beautiful. So I did like that. The match continued on a little bit more. Kenny ended up hitting not 1, not 2, but 3 V-triggers, followed by the One-Wing Angel. 1, 2, 3. And Kenny Omega is the new AEW World Champion. I forgot to mention, he also ended up doing a Avalanche One-Wing Angel in this match as well. So, yeah, there's that. MJF losing, to me, is fine. It actually kind of makes sense. MJF, I hate to say it, I do like him. He is great for business. He truly is. But MJF has become a little bit stale as an act. His gimmick has become stale. It's kind of monotone, robotic, where he's either paying off somebody or and having certain guys jump through hoops to basically save him. He does the same old gimmick over and over again. It's just gotten annoying, right? And he needs to reinvent himself. He really does. So I know people were mad about this. His third reign was obviously garbage. His best reign was his first reign as champion, right? The last 2 have been kind of nauseating. MJF really shouldn't have been in this position. I think that Darby should have won it Double or Nothing and retained the title. That's what I would have gone with. But, Double or Nothing was basically 2 months ago. So there's that. But I think MJF is going to basically be cooled off for a while. And I think at some point next year, he'll end up being AEW World Champion for a 4th time. Because clearly Omega won, so he can pass the torch to Ospreay at All in Wembley, which I think they're going to do more than likely. I don't see this being a triple threat match. They can clearly do the rematch at Redemption, which is basically in like 2.5 weeks. So why wouldn't they? And then there's that. I think it does suck that MJF's not going to basically main event All In, but he could probably maybe definitely co-main. So I think it's going to end up being Andrade versus MJF at All In. I think that would be great. And you have them have a feud, right? We should get 3 matches out of this. Andrade versus MJF. This thing should last for a good 3 months or 4 months, right? So, it is what it is. I know people are upset. But Tony Khan is worried about, what's the biggest match he can do possible. And then also, too, you have to take into account of the fan base, right? That fan base, they are super duper New Japan guys. Like, they love that. They love that shit. So why wouldn't Tony book Ospreay Omega 3 at All In Wembley? And to me, that makes the most sense. Clearly, it's going to be babyface versus babyface. Maybe you have Ospreay turn heel. Not immediately after, but I would venture off to have him being heel, which would be fine. Kenny, he's clearly on his last leg anyway. He can't really go too much like he used to like 10, 12 years ago. And, I'm pretty sure Tony Khan wanted to give him one last massive world title run. Well, not world title, not massive run, but give him another crack at the title. And obviously, he won. So Kenny Omega's going to have a transitional reign. It's going to be fine. And this makes sense. And again, MJF will be champion sometime next year, right? But I think for right now, they're gonna cool him off. Ospreay is, well, they've been teasing for months that Ospreay is going to be the new top guy, right? Is MJF going to go down the card? Probably yes, right? So I expect for MJF to do a lot of like non-title feuds for a while until he's ready to go back at the top again of the main event scene. But I feel that MJF needs to kind of be phased out for a while. Let's just say they end up doing a 3-month feud with Andrade. MJF goes away, and he comes back, and he's more of more of an anti-hero. I think him being this heel for a while, it's ran its course, it's gotten stale, and it's time for him to, he doesn't have to necessarily be a lovable babyface, but if he can be like an anti-hero, I think that would suit him best. So, there's that. So, yeah, I mean, the match was fine. Again, Ospreay versus Omega at All In is fine. It makes sense. We know this is what they were going to do anyway for the longest time. So, I get it. I mean, I like MJF. He's okay. I can tolerate him. Am I a super fan of his? No. But, it is what it is. All right. So we kicked the show off with the first match of the night. Tommaso Ciampa defeats Chris Jericho. So this feud's obviously going to continue. Tommaso Ciampa ended up hitting the facebuster drive or whatever that he does. I forgot what he calls that. I know it's not Willow's Bell or whatever. Oh, yeah, the Angel Wings. He ended up doing that on the outside. Jericho got busted open, and then I think Ciampa threw sand in Jericho's eyes and ended up doing the knee strike for the 1, 2, 3. This is fine. Clearly, this thing is going to continue. We'll probably end up getting their second match at Redemption, and then their third and final match should take place at All In. Maybe you do like a Texas death match or something like that, or something. I don't know. Just do a stipulation to end their feud. So there's that. So yeah. Moving on. This leads us into the Brawling Birds. Alex Windsor and Jamie Hayter. They ended up beating up some full-grown men in a pub, which was insane as fuck to me. It was very, very dumb and stupid. I don't get it. I really don't. It was retarded. And who does bar fights anymore? Like, that is so 90s, early 2000s. Like, fights don't happen in bars anymore. Like, that usually happens at, like, Waffle Houses, certain Waffle Houses, malls and stuff like that, right? Come on. Walmart parking lots, come on. But a damn pub, no. And why couldn't they have used women in this shit? Like, it's unrealistic as hell to even do this shit, but it is what it is. But they should have used, like, enhancement women, and they beat them up. Maybe, like, have, like, 5 or 6 girls kind of talking shit, and then the Brawling Birds come in and clean house. We see a little bit of blood, not a lot. We could have seen some blood, some broken bottles, obviously, maybe a couple of loose teeth and stuff like that. That'd been pretty cool. I would have done something like that if I was gonna, book this. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Moving on from that, this leads us into Will Ospreay and MJF. They exchange some words, and MJF ends up spitting in the face of Ospreay and all that stuff. So a little mini brawl breaks out between the two of them, and security separate both guys and all that stuff there. So you knew right then and there that Omega was going to win that anyway. All right, moving on from that, Kyle Fletcher defeats Tenosuke Takeshita to become the new AEW International Champion, which is fine. This makes sense. This match was good. They went balls to the walls as per usual, because that's just both guys. That's what they do, basically. Kyle Fletcher ends up winning via the Brainbuster on the turnbuckle, so that was that. Maybe Takeshita is going to go back to Japan for a while, so that's fine, I guess, to kind of help out New Japan more than likely. So yeah, whatever. Moving on from that, this leads us into the Don Callis family and stuff. They're out there. Mick Foley comes up, and he gets a good reaction. He wants to interview Kyle Fletcher. And so Kyle Fletcher said that he's better than Takeshita. They were never friends, and he carried him the entire time. They were a tag team and all that jazz. So Don Callis attempts to discredit Mick Foley for getting in the middle of the celebration. So Mick Foley ends up wanting to talk about something that Don Callis doesn't understand, and that's credibility. Then he ends up showing us his tie-dye shoes and pictures of 2 different dogs. One that's already passed on, and the other is still living. And he said if he doesn't stop disrespecting him, one of those shoes will go up his ass. So, there's that. That's fine, I guess, whatever. Although we know that Mick Foley, who's in, like, his mid-60s, like between, like, 65 and 67, there's no way that would ever happen. No, hell no. So Kevin Knight shows up. He puts over Kyle Fletcher and all that stuff. He has some words. Andrade shows up. He interrupts all this nonsense. So he asked Don Callis that he promised him a world championship, and he'll take one of those titles right now. And he says, "How you know? How you know, amigo?" He didn't really say amigo, but he says, "How you know? How you know?" So then he wants the Don Callis family to come after him. I know Andrade was hot as hell. The guy had on a trench coat, slacks, a shirt, and a hat. Like, bro, what the fuck, bro? You wrestling in, like, 95-degree weather, bro, at night. Like, come on, dog. I mean, come on, fam. He should have came out with in a damn, like, just like some gym shorts, some gym shoes, and maybe like a tank top or whatever. I don't know, but damn, come on, bro. I know, he was sweating like a motherfucker in there. Good God. Woo. Shit. I'm sweating just thinking about wearing all that shit. Good God, bruh. Damn. All right. This is fine, I guess. So whatever. Darby ends up using booby traps. So he had a booby trap skateboard and everything. So there's that. So he ended up using smoke bombs and stuff to fight out the Don Callis family, which is kind of hilarious. So, there's that. Clearly, this is going to lead to like a tag match. Darby Allin and Andrade taking on a couple of members of the Don Callis family. So, I don't know. Hopefully, again, we'll get MJF and Andrade at All In. Hopefully, that's the plan. All right, moving on from that. Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley, they defeat the Workhorsemen, which is JD Drake and Anthony Henry. So, whatever. Who cares? They ended up winning that, so I don't care about that. Moving on. This leads us into the Women's Casino Gauntlet, featuring Athena, Maya World, Sky Blue, Mina Shirakawa, Reina, Julia Hart, Thunder Rosa, and a returning Willow Nightingale. So Willow Nightingale ends up winning. Willow Nightingale winning was the right decision. So, and what made this match even better was that Tekla was on commentary, and she had me fucking rolling. Tekla is one crazy chick. That girl's got a couple screws loose. She needs to be on somebody's couch for at least, 2 hours a day, 5 times a week. Shit, she's crazy as fuck. So then Mercedes, she was there watching from the, she was there. She was in the crowd or whatever. So, she was watching from the high dive chair or whatever, the lifeguard chair or whatever. So, there's that. Then, for whatever reason, Divine Dominion, they ended up attacking Julia Hart and Sky Blue, taking them out. And then Mercedes ends up beating up Tekla and Willow Nightingale with her Owen Hart Cup title belts. Okay, that's fine there. So, whatever. This could lead to a triple threat match at Wembley, maybe, at All In Wembley. That could happen. I am interested in Tekla versus Willow Nightingale. I like Tekla, but you should put the title on Willow Nightingale. Tekla's had it for about maybe 8-9 months. So you have her lose it at Redemption. Maybe you do Tekla and her girls taking on Divine Dominion and somebody else to step in for Mercedes at All In. So I don't know. Maybe that's the big plan. All right, moving on from that. This leads us into Jack Perry. So he's going to resign with AEW. And he talked about how he's going to be world champion. I laughed at this. This was hilarious. Jack Perry is a total fucking loser. There was no way he was ever going to go to TNA or MLW or NWA, and we know good and damn well he was not going to go to WWE at all. Jack Perry is a total fucking jobber to the highest degree. He will never be world champion. Him and Sammy Guevara are in the same boat / tier list, basically. Again, remember when they were talking about the 4 pillars a couple years ago? Well, like 3 or 4 years ago, whatever. The pillars are basically just going to be MJF and Darby. That's it. The other 2 are just useless. Like, they're totally fucking useless. The only reason why they have jobs is because of who they're friends with. Right? That's it. So, whatever. And that was Beach Break. So, Beach Break overall was okay. Omega winning, that was the right decision, basically. Clearly, they're going to do Ospreay Omega at All In Wembley. Hopefully, they end up doing the rematch of MJF and Kenny Omega at Redemption. I like what they're doing with Mercedes, Tekla, and Willow Nightingale. I actually like that. So there's a possibility we could get a triple threat match out of that, but we don't know. We gotta wait and see. The mid card is just mid carding basically, so it's nothing special going on there. But all in all, Beach Break was okay for the most part. I enjoyed Omega and MJF. Not the entire match, but I did like some stuff in the match. Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita, that was okay. I mean, We've seen that already, but I mean, it's fine. Like MJF and Kenny Omega. Again, Teflon commentary was fucking great. And Tommaso Ciampa and Chris Jericho, that was okay as well. We're still going to continue that feud. Hopefully Jericho will win the next 2 matches, and he should. But what did you guys think of Beach Break? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.